So I just think Jojo is such a beautiful stand-in for a lot of people who were alive during that time that, kind of got swept up in, the pageantry and the pomp and circumstance of Nazism.
Right.
And then by the end of the war, kind of like by Jojo is by the end of the movie, they sort of realize that, oh, wait a minute, like, something's, like, now they actually have some time to think about, what is being said and what they believe, and they're realizing, sort of like Jojo does that, oh, wait, no, these people are human. Yeah. And what we're doing doesn't quite seem right.
You're right.
And I just think they did a beautiful job of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I loved that his friend Yorkie was the epitome of innocence.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, even though he actually gets drafted and all that stuff, and he's actually fighting, like, by the end, like, Jojo goes, yeah, you know that Jew I told you about? Yeah, it turns out she's my girlfriend now. And he's like, you have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
That's
Good for
great!
you. Yeah.
Like, just the politics of it are completely over his head. Right. And he's just pure innocence. And I loved Yorkie.
Yeah.
He's such an adorable character.
Yeah, he was. Sort of a sidestep, but the character of Yorkie had some particularly fun costuming moments. So I'm going to talk about the costumes in this for a second.
Very interesting, historically accurate costumes as well.
It's not the most common thing that directors purposefully utilize costuming to push their comedy, but clearly Taika Waititi is doing that.
Yeah.
The costumes are very planned and intentional, which is very cool. The cardboard uniform is a part of the humor of it, but is also a researched part of the story, played for laughs. I mean, everything in this movie was so pretty, and the way that they used, especially the mom's wardrobe, like, you knew something was gonna happen based on her shoes.
Yeah.
They were shown so much. They're the only shoes in the movie you focus on. Right.
Well, hers and Jojo's.
Sure.
But yeah.
Next to hers, though, mostly. It was pretty. It was a good example of costuming being a part of the story structure intentionally. I mean, costumers are always telling a story through their work. That's part of the job. But it's not as common, especially in comedy, that it's clearly a team decision, some of the choices being made to heighten the comedy of a story with the costuming. And they did a good job with that in this one. I liked it.
Kind of take it to the darker note of it, though. The reveal of, Jojo's mother being executed. After it coming from such a beautiful scene where he's following a butterfly, essentially, and almost kind of finding some inner peace and acceptance of, well, Elsa, like, she's in my home, I'm discovering who I am, and then this butterfly appears, and he starts following it, and it's a beautiful kind of, like, almost soul-searching moment that leads him right to the feet of his hanged mother. And tears were just streaming down my eyes. It was what was his name? Roman Griffin Davis, who plays Jojo. I mean, that was heart-wrenching. I mean, there was multiple, like, with Captain K's sacrifice and the execution of the mother. I cried.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't, like, sniffle.
Right.
I cried.
Like, tears on the face. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, going all the way back to the opening of the episode, I was not expecting that. I was,
sure.
Any competent director can make you feel multiple emotions, even if it's a comedy, action, or drama.
Right.
But I was not expecting to cry in this movie. And it was just so beautiful. And the roller coaster of the emotions, I think, is what.
Yeah, it was truly, because there were I'm a pretty silent movie watcher for the most part, but there were definitely moments where I was laughing out loud involuntarily and also fully crying. I saw this on a Thursday morning, and it was just my mom and I in the theater, and we were both definitely laughing out loud and weeping loudly. So there was also a part where I was having a dramatic coughing fit that I could not stop.
Oh no.
So that was fun.
Dying's bad for
I'm
health.
just glad there was no more audience but my mom and I.
I mean, I could just go on for hours on how good this movie was. I mean, from beginning to end. I mean, they even do a phenomenal job of the soundtrack. Of all those...
That was really great.
Yeah.
I loved that British invasion moment in the beginning where they're doing they're clearly likening, trying to get the vibe up, like Hitler was a rock star to people, you know, like, and they did that super well with the use of the Beatles movie, like music and the montage style that we see in newsreels of that sort of era.
It felt very Hard Day's Night, but German.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I like that, they did the song in German.
Right.
I think that really just...
Well, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the, songs that had lyrics were in German.
I feel like there may have been one or two that were in English.
But most of them were.
The big featured ones, for sure.
Gotcha.
Like the
David Bowie ones.
Yeah,
David
that
Bowie's
was such a good choice.
Yeah. Everything about I love this movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely not a movie I can watch a lot, but I'm definitely going to be adding it to my library because there's going to be moments where it's like I need to watch Jojo Rabbit.
Right.
So can we talk about Mr. Hitler for a little bit?
Mr.
Hitler.
Please go ahead.
Taika Waititi's rendition of Hitler reminded me a lot of what we see in The Producers. This very just clearly silly and insane character.
I was feeling the general vibes from the way he played it as well.
Oh, sure, yeah. But I thought, it was very interesting seeing, Jojo and, the two main adult figures in his life, his mother, Rosie, and then Hitler, being like two sides of the coin where, his mother is this freedom fighter and kind of, not overtly having Jojo question his fanaticism. But there are definitely some comments that she makes during the film where, she kind of, puts down Nazism a little bit and how, the first time that they go into the center square and they see those people, and Jojo's like, well, what did they do? And she said, all that they could. And just walks away. And then you have, Hitler, who's essentially trying to, drum up a beat and, make Jojo happy. And it's just a very interesting dichotomy, but similarity at the same time and difference at the same time. It's just such an interesting and complex relationship that the three of those characters have.
Right. It was almost kind of like the preservation of childhood from two completely opposite angles.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Like where the mother was kind of wanting to preserve the innocence, the the youth of it, and Hitler's side was trying to portray the fun,
capture
the adventure of Nazism. And it was just very, because they were both very youth oriented concepts, but very different sides of the coin. Right.
And it was interesting to see how his imagining of Hitler evolved over the film as his views on everything sort of changed and the way it was acted. Taika Waititi, I don't he can do all of the things.
I read a really fun article that because there was a lot of Hitler scenes in it, he needed to be in his Hitler costume.
Oh no!
And so he directed most of the film in a Hitler costume.
Oh no!
It was like that's beautiful.
I mean, could you expect anything less out of him?
No. I'd be surprised if he
He
didn't
didn't,
show
yeah.
up to the next one in his Hitler costume.
And in that same article I read, our suspicions were confirmed. Stephen Merchant was on an Apple box.
Okay.
With Sam
Okay,
Rockwell.
I figured.
He is tall.
But not
He's
that
not
tall.
that tall.
Or Sam Rockwell's not that short.
Right. That was such a good movie.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Before we wrap it up, do we have any other final thoughts that we want to go into?
Just, the writing of, just of all of the story and the characters, just, it walked this very interesting line of being very, very true to the history while also making sure to be funny and sad and just play on all your emotions. And I think it's fantastic. There's no other way to put it.
I'd be interested to read the book it was based on.
Yeah,
and
that's
see
true.
what the tone of that was, if it was just the story he grabbed, or what.
So, from what I understand, it's a very sobering book. It's not funny at all.
Sure.
It's boy in striped pajamas level of sobering.
Great.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show the artistry of Taika Waititi, of being able to adapt something so sobering, so, dark and heart-wrenching, and make something new and beautiful, but yet keep the message. I don't know. That's brilliance in my mind.
Yeah. Okay, so
Jeez.
I do know what y'all were up to in the, mid to late 2000s, but I don't know if you ever had to see the Twilight films. Because Taika Waititi has directly quoted the Twilight films in Jojo Rabbit. There's a moment in the Twilight films that always felt really, forced, because the issues at hand were, one, not large enough, and two, not obvious enough, where, Edward's got Bella in the forest, and he's like, you know what I am? And she goes, and he says, say it. And she's a vampire. And you're like, where the fuck did you pull that from? There's no precedence in this world for you to suspect vampirism out of anyone. But he used those lines in this movie, and it just actually made sense, because there was a suspicion of people, and there was a specific sort of person you could draw to. She did the, you know what I am, say it, you're a Jew. And it made the line that was so trite and garbage make sense. And he did it as a comedy callback, and it was funny.
So this movie made you appreciate Twilight?
No. It didn't make me appreciate Twilight. It made me appreciate Taika Waititi for using Twilight in a comedic way. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I heard the line and I was like, oh, okay. I see you.
I know what
I'm
you
laughing.
did there.
Good job.
Well done. Well done.
Say it! All right. So are there any other final thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Do we want to hype up our next movie that we're watching?
Yes, we do. Our next movie, which you can listen to right now because aforementioned illnesses, etc. I moved and also opened and closed an entire show. We're releasing these the same day. So, Frozen 2! Head on over.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Casual Cinephilia. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
Music by Kevin MacLeod, Quirky Dog, and Vicious. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. You can find his music at incompetech.com.